Let's get some analysis on the situation. Iyad Agha is the coordinator for the NW Syria NGO Forum coordinator. He joins us now from Gaziantep in southeastern Turkey. Iyad, good to have you on the show. In their response to the Ukraine crisis, we've seen countries and blocs like the European Union and the United States, as well as other Western countries, sort of provide a very strong example of how Western leaders can stand in solidarity. My first question to you is, are you somewhat disappointed with the West's response and how much attention they're now giving Syria? I mean, just look at the numbers that have been announced. $5.3 billion pledged for last year. In today's conference, $1.6 billion.
I mean, that's completely, as you mentioned, quite disappointing, and unfortunately, the crisis in Syria hasn't decreased in severity. On the contrary, it's actually, increasing in severity. We do have more people in need year after year. The economic situation compounded with other elements such as the war in Ukraine and the prices increase and the inflation, all of that adds to the problems that the Syrian people face in whole of Syria and northwest Syria in particular. And unfortunately, that's not met with the same level of commitment by the donors. Of course, the donors they do have a lot of things to deal with. The global pandemic have a huge impact on their capacity to respond in general, alongside with the competing priorities in Ukraine and in Afghanistan. But unfortunately, that does not mean that we need to decrease or back down on some of the people that were provided lifeline to.
It does make the situation a little bit more difficult. Let me ask you, how do you think the economic crisis in some of the surrounding countries is affecting the situation in Syria? I mean, Lebanon, without a doubt, is in a dire condition. Turkey's economy is weaker than it was compared to a couple of years ago. How is this affecting the situation in Syria, you think?
Basically, as for Syria, it's a country with a prolonged crisis. It's been in a conflict for more than 11 years now, and unfortunately, that makes it more fragile to be impacted by any deterioration of the economy of the neighboring country. While Lebanon has provided outlets for Syria in getting cash, in getting money, in getting some of the basic material. Unfortunately, the whole situation, not only the economic one, but the whole breakdown of the governments there has already impacted Syria, alongside with the deterioration of the economy in Turkey as well, which again possess not only that Turkey hosts 3.8 million, but also it neighbors the northwest Syria, which hosts more than 4.5 million people in need.
Iyad, as you were speaking, we're playing pictures of the situation in Syria, and it's just representative of the situation in general. Millions of people sort of carrying their weight on their backs, people having spent the better part of a decade living in tents, constantly sick, malnutrition, a lack of medicine. In terms of finding a solution, what do you think is more important? I mean, do the donors need to step up more in terms of meeting the humanitarian needs, or do we need a real push when it comes to diplomatic progress to bring an end to this conflict?
I mean, for sure, it's not going to be a humanitarian solution. I mean, the humanitarian operation helps with providing the support line and the lifeline for these people, which as I mentioned before, are increasing on annual basis. Right now, we have 3.1 million people food insecure in northwest Syria alone. And that's, taken out of the population of 5 million is a huge percentage. So honestly, for the Syria crisis, it's always been the political solution, the political push and the political willingness for the countries to actually take action and end the conflict, the prolonged conflict. There is no situation, humanitarian or others, that can help solve the situation. It only kind of helps supporting the life of people while they're doing so. And as you mentioned, unfortunately for this prolonged crisis, there's a generation of children who were born in camps. They only know the tents as their homes, unfortunately. Yeah. And what we can do is complete, just providing the support that we do, and that's not the solution.
Yeah, and you're doing a very good job. Thank you. Iyad Agha live for us from
Thank you.
Gaziantep, Turkey. Thank you.